by the end of the year for RLUSD, Ripple's stablecoin, to be one of the top 5 in the market by the end of the year. And I think the whole market's going to grow dramatically.
Is XRP finally poised to do its 4th all-time high in under a full year? You guys, this only happens in crypto.
There are no refs in this game. Fuck the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes.
What I want to go over today is talk about if XRP is getting ready for a massive breakout. Is the institutional support? Is the government support? Now, do me a favor. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you do not miss out on these videos. They do take a while to make, but I do love making them because then we fully understand the market sentiment and the way that we can easily capitalize within the market. Let's pull it up, though. The article is really interesting, right? Will this spark the next surge higher for XRP? Right now, it is consolidating below the $3.20 zone. It's actually a little bit higher because we had a bit of a spike. I would even say that the true zone we're looking at in this consolidation is here because these are anomaly zones, right? You've got these like little anomaly zones. Now, when we look at that number, what is that area roughly, right? If we go from here to here, it's about 3%. It's about $3.30. And it's all the way down to about $3.20. It has made it down to about $3.10, which is really interesting, you guys, right? Those are exact numbers, right? 20, 30, 10 cents. Like you could have literally just played it like a flute. And that's what makes it so interesting because it's all human psychology ingrained into what we're all trading. Now, we do see it is struggling to get past the 330 and it is trading between the 310 to 320 as we just saw on the chart. But what they're putting on here is this trend line support or trend line resistance. Sorry, boys. And that is correct. That is 100% sitting there. And we need to wait for it to break before we're able to say, hey, XRP is able to make that next leg up. And if it does make this next leg up, I mean, the total that we need to break all-time highs, again, is literally just 11%, right? Because not even under 30 days ago, we hit all-time highs for XRP. And the reason I say it's like the 3rd time this year, because we hit them again in November. So in under a full year sentiment, we've already done it twice. So we have another full probability to do it again at only an 11% need. And then again, it's going to maybe be able to pull what Bitcoin is doing, because what Bitcoin is doing is it's what's really getting close to breaking again another set of all-time high. Bitcoin is truly at the 4th. Like Bitcoin's only at 2.83% away from breaking all-time highs again, right? And then these all-time highs, the only way it's going to get to 125, and 125 is such an important psychological number for crypto in general, specifically in the fact that if people see BTC past 125, do you understand the headline news that could come out and entail that will drive more retail? It might end the bull market because there might not be enough potential or momentum to get past that, but that's okay because at that psychological number, when people are talking to each other, they get to say Bitcoin made it to 125K. Like Bitcoin's past 125K. That's a lot of money. It's a big, big, big number, right? It's even more valuable than the 100K sound, right? 125K just sounds big. So realistically, I think that that's going to only help the general market. And when liquidity enters BTC, we see it's entering XRP. And right now, XRP has backing from institutions. They are slowly but surely onboarding new banks to use their service. And that's the thing with XRP. It has a utility that literally businesses need to use. And that is the biggest growing industries, right? Like no matter what, XRP is poised to get to the next highs, whether it's now, whether it's in 2, 3, 4 years. Why? Because it's got utility and it's a very, very fast moving crypto, which is exactly what it's used for in its utility variable. So like if we can see this, you guys, look, we did drop from that all-time high all the way down to $2.73. So we dropped roughly 25%, and it took about 15 days, right? We go from the high to the low, it's about 15 days, right? Now from here, we rode all the way up 23%. So we reclaimed what we lost. And you got to remember the numbers change just a little bit as you're like, because like that's a 25% to the top. But from here, from here to here, that's another 23% because a 25% is only here. Right? 25% is only here. Right? 25% here. Right, so if 25% was there, but it's up here to here, it shows you guys the difference, right? Because that's still like you basically got an extra 5% in the movement back, and it's just the math on percentages. But what I'm pointing out here is it regained that whole 23% of the loss. in under 6 days, right? And now we are kind of consolidating. And you guys can see here, we drew this. We drew it on one of the lives. We do daily lives. You guys can watch them at the school there. But we drew this to see if this would be followed through, and it did. It did not make it that high, but we were using that trend line, and that's okay. Now we're going to readjust it to this. We can now assume that this is an A, a B, and then maybe this is a C, but we're waiting to see if it finishes out. Also, what we want to do is get like a horizontal ray, and we want to really draw a trend line that we want to see if it follows. I've been really using that. It's been very helpful, especially like in Doge. Like, look at some of these trades in Doge. Look at this one. We got stomped out here, 2%. And I would have been able to ride a 3.8, but it's okay. I mean, it flips. Still an easy move up. And you guys, look at this. Look at this crazy bounce from yesterday. 6.54% in under 3 hours. You're only going to find that on crypto. And if you guys want to make money using crypto, day trading it specifically or swing trading it, I really recommend you check out the BTCC link below. They still are giving away a 10% deposit bonus when you use the link. So like if you put in 10K, they'll give you a K to use. And what I recommend is you use that K to practice, right? Practice, get your reps in, feel how the market feels. And that's the only way you're going to be able to make consistent profit. Because if you don't practice or get your hands wet and try, you're never going to be able to actually get a rhythm within the market. And I do recommend you pick one. I would recommend XRP. I've been really into Doge as well, but pick one asset that you can continuously follow, right? And in XRP's case, the reason I really love this one is because it has, again, the potential to break all-time highs. The mission of XRP as a company makes sense. The fact that it's a crypto used as a real-world opportunity for people makes sense. I think it's going to open a lot of doors for boomers and a lot of the older generation who are willing to invest in crypto but don't want to touch just regular. They want something that feels a little bit more normal to them, right? So with that too, we could even see that the TA still states that we can make it up to $3.69, which again would be that all-time high. And anytime we're in new territory, we understand that the probability of being really random and getting even newer highs is a very big variable and could occur. And this is still valid for this, and this. And you can see why it's still valid. Look at how perfect that was, right? So what we did was a trend fib-based extension from here to the top of the one, and then we bring it down. From here, it shows us that it bounced to the 161.8, a little above it, but those are anomalies, and those occur in crypto, right? Because it's always an area, it's not an exact line. So 1.618 hit here, and then it bounced off of it again for the top of the fifth wave. Now we're assuming that if it can rebound up through here, it could make it back up to the 369. That's what we're expecting and hoping. Now, what you can also see here is these fib retracements, right? So we've got one fib that does the entire first to third wave structure, and then we've got another fib that basically just does the third structure, right? The third wave. So on just the third wave, we have fully hit 0.5. We've also hit 0.382, and we almost hit the 0.68, but you can see that bounce on the 0.5. I mean, that is literally another 4% in no time. You guys, it's literally free money on that basis, right? Especially if you use low risk, right? And then in there, we bounce back to the 382. On the bigger fib, we've only reached a 382, but look, the 382 is congruent with the 0.5. That is what makes this a very high probability bounce point, which is another strategy you could use, right? You're just going to draw the fib extension from the first wave to the top of the first wave if you're on the second wave, and you're going to look for an entry on that second wave. And then as the entire 5-wave structure comes out, then you're going to use the fib based on the other sets of waves. So like the third wave or the first to the fifth wave. So easy way to kind of be practicing in the market. And what you can always do is just get on here, and you can even just use the demo version of this. I've never used it. Yeah, there's demo trading. You can use this, and demo trading allows you to like pick a number and you can trade it, and it still feels real as well. I like using my real money and always testing even with 10, 20, 30, because I'm connected to that money. I feel more close to it and I don't want to lose it, right? Where demo, a lot of times you can do really well in demo, but it doesn't translate to reality. So you just want to make sure you double check that, or at least practice that, or put it into fruition before you're using hundreds in margin to take big leverage. All right. I hope that helps today, you guys. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss this crypto bull run. Make sure you're watching the charts as much as you can, because it's the only way you're going to get better with them and getting a clear understanding and a feel for how the asset's moving. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.